place. I'm doing fine, I'm feeling great. You're not my fan, you can't relate. Straight talk going, stay not safe. Before you cross me, look both ways. Leaving the scene with no trace, none in my league. You out of place, I'm not at the top, I'm outer space. Can't eat with us, we're out of place. I'm doing fine, I'm feeling great. You're not my fan, you can't relate. Straight talk going, state to state.
What's going on, guys? It's your host, your boy, George Mackay, back in the Straight Talk studios, and I got some returning guests. I got two young ladies who are amongst my favorite tag teams in wrestling today, and that's the honest truth. I'm not shit-talking. Even though they enjoy spending more time with my daughter than they do with me, that's okay. Please welcome, returning to Straight Talk Wrestling, the one and only Renegade Twins. How are you, ladies?
We're good. How are you?
I'm good. You know, I had to smack talk down an intro. I had to let the people know. When I messaged Robin to see if they wanted to come back on the show, Robin was like, absolutely, we missed the mini host. And I was like, cool, I'm here too.
I did. I did.
I missed that too. Not
All right.
forgotten.
All
Not
right.
forgotten. We missed that too.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. So let's talk about like the wildness that you guys have been through from 2022 to 2023, uprooting, going to Texas, from Georgia. Let's talk about that first off. What was it like? Because I remember you guys talking about in the first conversation that we had, family and how important family was, and mom and dad and everybody, especially dad getting you into wrestling. To uproot and shift to Texas, that's scary for anybody. It doesn't matter what age you are, to just to up kind of roll the dice and say, okay, listen, we're going to do this. What was that like for you guys and for your family?
When we got the call, was it Christmas Eve?
Yeah.
Christmas Eve from Thunderrosa and her husband Brian. They called us and they were like, hey ladies, like we're interested in trying to train you guys. If you guys want to come down to Texas, our home is always open and we are willing to train with you. And at first we were a little cautious because again, we are young and like you said, moving across the country is a big task and it's very intimidating, to say the least, especially as two young females who really don't know anybody there except Thunderrosa. That's really all we knew. And all of our friends from Mission Pro, which
Most of those girls aren't.
yeah, it's
not
mainly
local.
management that's there. And of course, so we talked to mom and dad and we somehow convinced them to let us go. Mom went with us for the first 3 weeks and we got our own house for the first like 3 weeks, and then we moved into an apartment after that. And I don't know,
I wouldn't say it was scary. I would say it was new.
it was different.
It was exciting.
Yes.
I will say it was more exciting than scary. And maybe that's just me personally.
I was
don't know
gonna
about
say,
Charlotte.
I don't know so much as scary, but yeah, nervous and excited.
I
was
was
more what I
so-
felt at that time.
Yeah, I was so excited to be somewhere new, learning something new, and being able to listen and feel like, and like we've said, we love the Nightmare Factory. But when we go, we no longer feel like brand new students. We walked into training with Thunder and training with
Chris Marvel
at Hybrid, and we felt like brand new students.
Yes.
Like we were starting from ground zero. And it's not because they treated us that way, and it's not because it was a brand new atmosphere. It was something completely different than what we were ever learning here at home.
We realized Texas wrestling is different than Georgia wrestling, which is different than California wrestling. In different parts of the country, different regions of the country wrestle differently. So as much as we know the QT way of wrestling, how to wrestle in the South, there are other things that we could have incorporated, like QT is not going to teach us lucha. It's just not his style of wrestling, you know? So we go out to Texas and we worked lucha like for 3 whole months. We did nothing but lucha stuff. Of course, we had our occasional Mission Pro matches, but a lot of the things that we were learning was lucha, and I really enjoyed it.
It was lucha. It was manipulation. It was like, as far as like being able to work with somebody and move and all those things, like she really truly, and I would say those 3 months really helped us as a wrestler. I would do it again. I don't know about, I mean, I love Texas, don't get me wrong. I loved being there, but I would want to go somewhere else. And just because I would want to go and find a different place to train, I like feeling the new feeling of, I don't know what I'm going to learn today. I don't know if I've already learned this or if, you know what I'm saying? And
I felt like I had started wrestling all over again.
Yes.
The excitement, giddy feeling that you feel when you first start wrestling and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna learn all the things right now.
and then when
That's
you
how
get
I
them
felt.
right,
And then when you get them right, like you go through it time and time and time again and you're not getting it right. And then eventually it finally something clicks and you're like, oh my gosh, that was so freaking cool. And I'm so proud of myself. So
and don't get us wrong, we felt that way training with QT for a long time, and very rarely we feel that way now too. Like the other day I was working on power slams with QT in the ring, and I just could not get it right until finally I got it right. And when I did, I looked at QT and I was like, yeah, like I was so excited. Like it's, we very rarely get those things, and we do now, but going completely somewhere new and learning a different style of wrestling, because everybody has a different style of wrestling. You're never going to see the same person wrestle the exact same way. I mean, sort of, but not really.
yeah, Ricardo Rodriguez likes to explain it as different flavors of ice cream. Not everybody's going to like the same flavor of ice cream. You just pick what your flavor is and you make your flavor unique to you. It's whatever flavor you like. If you want to take a little mint chocolate chip from here and a strawberry scoop from there, and
Or a little bit of chocolate from there, and maybe
Yeah.
some sprinkles on top with the cherry, then we could do that. That's
and that's
cute.
your flavor of ice
You
cream.
know, and that might not be what I want, but that's what you like.
And QT Marshall also says, wrestling is what you make it. Wrestling is what you want it to be. No one can tell you that what you're doing in your character or anything like that
Is wrong.
is wrong. It's
There's
what
no
you want
wrong
it to be.
answers in wrestling. It's like improv. There's no wrong answers. It's just yes.
True. Improv will test your ability. And you know
Oh
what?
gosh.
You could see the lucha stuff though coming out, especially in that first Rampage of January 2023, which you young ladies were on. Killer match with Dr. DMD, which Robin, I know you have history. You had the singles match with her, and then you got to also face the women's champion. And I gotta ask you, Charlotte, I gotta ask you this question. Halfway through the match, you kind of had Jamie kind of on the ringer, and you were yelling out, kind of smack talking. This is your women's champion. This is your world champion. Like you were smack talking, and I know you guys got some heat from that. What was it like having that arena crowd give you that heat that you can't buy that feeling?
So this is gonna sound so bad because I don't know what it feels like. It's the God honest truth. Like, yes, I was in that moment and I was there. But when I personally start wrestling, because people ask all the time, how does it feel to wrestle in front of that many people? Like they're not there. I go blind. Not blind as in like I don't know what's going on in the ring, but it's like the ring is my own little room. It's a soundproof room, and I can't hear anybody outside of it. I can't see any of the fans. I'm just there doing my job, and I'm enjoying what I'm doing. Like, there was a couple moments that like I didn't realize that the fans were cheering for us at one point, because I could only hear them cheering for DMD or Jamie. Like I could not hear cheers for us. Like it just, my brain was not letting me hear the cheer, like the excitement in the room.
Look at Robert.
But when I
Robert's
watched
like,
it back,
I
was
heard
like,
all of it.
when I watched it back, I was like, oh my goodness, the feeling was unbelievable, and it's a great feeling. And I looked at Robin and I said, we did our job. We did our job, and that was the job, like we went out there and we entertained people. And it's always a good feeling when you know that you did your job and you did your job well.
Mhm.
I will say this just to elaborate on Charlotte, because I do remember when I was like Charlotte, when I used to go out and because I'm not saying that I have more experience than Charlotte, but I feel like I got a lot more comfortable in the ring a lot faster than Charlotte did.
Well,
So
TV wrestling is also way different than indie wrestling. There's a lot more
extreme-
cameras to look for. There's a reason why those people get paid big bucks. Like,
because it's hard.
it's hard. It's hard. And for me, like I almost went and grabbed Jamie and I had to stop myself and go, talk your shit. Just look at everybody and just talk your shit. Cause like I was nervous. I wanted to do well.
Not that I wasn't nervous, but I definitely was nervous. But with that being said, I did hear them. We had an entrance during a commercial break, and during that entrance, we had, granted, it was nothing near the two women in the ring or anybody else that is on that roster on a regular basis, but they knew who we were. And when we walked off stage, or actually when we got in the ring, I looked at Charlotte and I said, Charlotte, they're cheering. Do you hear that? That's wild. And it literally blew my mind. And we were standing in the ring for about a minute and a half before anybody had any, like we were back on the air or anything like that. I was just out. It was just mind blown that we were standing there in front of thousands of people. And I could hear that. Now, with Charlotte, like what Charlotte said about no one can, you don't know. I could see like the first 3 or 4 rows. I can hear within the first 3 or 4 rows.
I was gonna say, yeah, I can hear within like 3 or 4 rows back. Anything past that, I'm like,
you lost me. You're probably not, I'm not gonna see you.
Yeah.
Bye. See you later. If you ain't sitting for, I got no time.
You're way up there in the rafters. I got you, man.
I just can't see you. I just don't know what you're saying. I can't.
I know you're up there though.
Listen, my voice bellows. If I'm sitting in the rafters, if I was there, you would have heard me. You would have heard me. I guarantee you. I would have made sure that you guys would have heard me. I would have been like, you guys remember me? Yeah, I'm also part of Straight Talk Wrestling, but who cares? Mini Host is here too. But I could see in that match the lucha style that was coming through. A couple great Hurricane Ranas. That missile drop kick was dangerously vicious. And I got to say, when the missile drop kick, now, correct me if I'm wrong. What do you guys think about this? This drop kicks and stuff like that are so simplistic, that are used all the time, almost feel like they're a lost art, because when they hit with a lot of power. But I almost feel like in today's wrestling, certain small things like that are a lost art. Would you guys agree?
I can completely say that they're a lost art. Everyone does drop kicks. In wrestling, there's a couple moves that are pretty basic moves that you learn right up front when you start wrestling school.
That is one of the
arm
moves.
drags, hip tosses, drop kicks. Those are 3 very basic moves that everyone should know.
And everyone learns like within the first 2 weeks of training. Mm-hmm. That's the first thing you learn, is how to chain and how to take an arm drag, a hip toss, and a drop kick, and give those 3 things.
Like I said earlier, wrestling is your flavor of ice cream. It's your responsibility to take whatever move you decide to do and make it your very own. Mm-hmm. I don't think that there's enough people. I just don't think that a drop kick is as respected as it used to be. Mm-hmm. I will say that. I won't say it's a lost art, but I don't feel as though it's respected as it used to be.
I will say this, and it's as bad as this is going to sound, mm-hmm. people use drop kicks all the time. Mm-hmm. And with that being said, everybody uses them. Not all of them look amazing. Mm-hmm. Not all of them look great. Mm-hmm. But if you can take something as simple as an arm drag or a hip toss or a drop kick, and I'm not saying mine are fantastic, and I'm not saying it looks any different than anybody else's, but what I am saying is if you could take something like that and you can tweak it just a tiny bit and make it the slightest bit yours, then it doesn't matter what move you're doing. Mm-hmm. Like I saw someone the other day at Impact give an arm drag, and I looked over at Charlotte and I said, I have never seen someone do an arm drag that way. That was fantastic. And the thing is it was an arm drag. It was so simple. It's literally one of the first things you learn in training. It was an arm drag, but I was like, I have never seen anybody do arm drags that way. She should do it all the time.
She was like, oh, that's so unique. Like I've never seen that before. And that's where I feel like there are simple moves like that people don't understand or see a way to make their own or tweak to fit them. So they're like, yeah, I'll just throw a drop kick in there. Boom. Regardless if it looks good or not. I personally do not throw drop kicks. You will never see me jump unless it's a leapfrog. I'm sorry. I don't have hops. My drop kicks look like shit. And I have enough respect for a drop kick not to throw something that looks like crap.
Well, we've also been taught our entire careers, and this is also, I think, is a lost piece of advice that a lot of people forget, is if it doesn't look amazing and you can't do it 10 out of 10 times, don't do it. It just makes you look bad. It doesn't make the other person look bad. It makes you look bad. Even if it is on the other person, it makes you look bad. So with that being said, like, find things like Shola said, she doesn't do drop kicks because they just don't look good. I don't do traditional drop kicks because if I do a standing drop kick and I try to face bump with it, I promise you it's going to look like I jumped 2 feet off the ground and I kicked your knees. Like, it looks bad.
We used to do them all the time. I would pee my pants every time I hit the mat. I was like, this is not fun. They look
No.
like crap. I pee myself. This just isn't good, man. Like,
Mm-mm.
That reminds me of that diss track that Dr. Dre did on Ja Rule when they were beefing back in the day when he's like, "You got to jump to swing up just to hit me in the knees." I still think that's a great one-liner. I still think that's
Yeah. But that's really what it is. And I don't know, I feel like we've said, we've done a few things here and there that we didn't perfect 10 times out of 10. There's been a few things that out there that, like, if you look it up, well, it didn't look good.
Hey, but that's okay, right? When you can go back to some of your earlier work and you could look at what worked and what didn't work, and then you could say, okay, if I fine tune this, if I tweak this a little bit, like the way we started it looked good, but the ending didn't look good. So if I invert the ending, or if I, take flavor A and flavor B and I mash them together, then all of a sudden I've got something that's all Renegade, all on its own. And then it looks like something that we could deliver. See, that's what people don't understand, is that much like a dance move or a choreography, telling that story in the ring without any words is probably the most difficult thing that you can do. That's like somebody standing up at a play and not having the script and having to, like you said, improv all of it. When you're in there and you're doing that art form, and that's really what it is. And it's so infuriating to me to people who don't get it. Because if you don't get it, don't shit on it. Like, I'm not a big hockey fan. I watch it here and there, and that's surprising being Canadian, but I'm more of a basketball fan.
yeah.
But I don't shit all over hockey. I enjoy it for what it is, but let's be honest, I live in Toronto. The Maple Leafs haven't won shit unless I turn my Xbox on. That's just the honest truth of the matter. That's just the honest truth of the matter. But I still won't shit all over hockey. I'll crack on the Leafs because that's fun to do. But I won't shit all over something that I don't know everything about. But I do know that the art form of wrestling is pure. It's probably the most purest form of artistic expression there is out there, next to drawing or painting. When you can draw out that emotion without saying a word, just by looking at a canvas on a wall, or just by looking at two people in pure poetry emotion, it's something special. And it's something that should be revered and respected. And if you don't respect it, I don't get it. I just don't get it.
Hey, we run into those people every day. And really, all I have to tell people is when they're like, it's fake, or that looks like it just doesn't look good, or whatever the
It
case may
doesn't
be.
hurt.
It doesn't hurt. I'm like, hey, how about you go ahead and throw yourself on the ground right now?
And tell me
Oh,
if
you
it
can't.
hurts.
You can't because you're scared. Your body's trained, your brain, to think like, we don't fall. Falling hurts. We don't do that. So now you have to retrain your body to go back in time and let yourself fall. And I'm like, it's fake. It's not fake. It's predetermined. There's a difference. I'm like, it's no different than your movies or your soap operas or your TV shows that you like to watch. It's no different than your video games.
Actually, I feel like it's more real than all of those things. If I'm being quite honest with you, all of those things
Agreed.
are completely staged. They are completely scripted. They are completely, like,
It's not
planned
live.
out.
Yeah. They're edited. There's a whole lot
In
of
this
things
business,
about them.
like we said, there is improv. As much as we plan and we call and we say things, some things don't go to plan. I can tell you right now, plenty of times. Actually, one just popped in my brain where what we called didn't go to plan. Exactly, like it, and it was entirely messed up. It was my first time wrestling in Helica Risk, and my cutoff, I was supposed to catch her with a Rana and give her the guardrails. That's not what happened. I ate shit on the Rana. It wasn't supposed to happen. And so my cutoff got messed up and I didn't know what to do. Guess what? The next minute was all on the fly. We didn't know what was happening. We had to improv. We didn't know. She didn't know. I drop kicked her off the apron and she had no clue that it was going to happen. Like, we have to figure things like that out. And I feel like in a show or a video game or a movie, those things don't happen. You don't have improv. I mean, maybe you might find the magical moment of a great actor who just happens to mess up on a line and just make it gold. But how often does that happen?
Not
But
very.
I feel like in wrestling, improvisation and good improvisation happens on a regular basis.
I
And I
absolutely
feel like that's respectable.
Absolutely. And I agree with everything you said. This is what I love. I love these fired up, passionate conversations because this is what keeps me inspired. It does. It hypes me up. But side note, I agree with you about video games, but in my house, this is the one thing that I can hold over all the beautiful women in my life, even the dog, is when we play, I usually win.
Oh my God, my dad.
My dad's the same way. My
Yeah.
mother's the same way. Our gentlemen are both the same way. Like, I
They-
get it.
They
It's
think
predetermined, ladies. It's predetermined destiny. It is. That's what it is, guys. It was written in the stars, and you don't have to accept it, ladies, but you got to respect it. You got to.
man, how about I don't respect or accept either?
That's fine. Just get better. All I'm saying is get better.
Oh,
It's-
no,
it's-
better. No.
Okay, what game do you play? What game do you play where dad gets the one up or your gentleman get the one up? What's the game? What's the game? Is it Mario Kart? What is it?
No. So here's the
So-
thing: we don't play video games in our household. We play board games, and the one board game that we play
Oh, no.
is Monopoly.
Oh, no.
And Dad
We
refuses.
play Uno, but if I do play video games every once in a while because my boyfriend streams on Twitch and he plays video games. So we started like getting into video games a little bit more. I'm really bad at like I don't know what they're called, but like the games like Call of Duty that like you have to use 2 joysticks to move around and like
First person shooters. I love that shit.
yeah,
Actually, the mini host is dangerous. She could snipe people from like 350 yards away.
that's crazy because my brain and my fingers cannot get it together and I will be looking dead ass at the ground trying to walk forward. So something like that, but something that's on an easier level for me that I'm like, oh yeah, I could play that. But my boyfriend always beats me is Fall Guys on Xbox.
But that's just a terrible game. I played that game too. It sucks.
It's not terrible.
I hate that
It's not
game.
horrible.
I hate that game.
It's not horrible. It's a child's game. But like I literally just told you guys, I cannot play first person shooters, anything with double sticks, like we're not doing it. And then like the other games I play Legos and stuff, like the Lego Star Wars Legos.
But those
Like
aren't like
superheroes.
those are
But
like
yeah, that's working together. That's not against each other. So
Yeah, that's true.
like I said, we don't really play video games in our household like against each other. We play board games, and like we said, I mean, Charlotte said Monopoly. I mean, not Monopoly, Uno.
Uno's the worst in our house.
Yeah, but that's just because we're all hyper competitive beings. Like we are so hyper competitive. It's wild.
It's unhealthy.
Yeah, it is.
It's not.
And so like I said, like it's so unhealthy to the point like my dad. So my dad's the one who kind of gave us the hyper competitive like aspect. And so with that being said, we don't play Uno in our Monopoly in our house because my dad refuses to be anything but the banker, and then he cheats the entire time.
And he says he
No
doesn't
one-
cheat.
no
He
one-
says he's playing the game the right way. But we swear every single person at the table every single time swears. So now when Monopoly gets brought out and Dad's like, I'm gonna play, we're like, just put it
No.
away.
Yeah, we're like,
Just
we
put
don't
it
want to
away.
play anymore.
Listen, if you're the banker, it's not cheating if no one at the table can prove it. So you can hearsay,
That's-
but factual
that's-
evidence is the
That's
thing.
bullshit.
Well, that's how she
Bullshit.
feels. That's how my dad
yeah,
feels.
that's bullshit. You guys both would love each other.
And Mom-
and I would hate
Yep.
playing games with you guys.
Yep. And Mom's game to get over on us is gin rummy. She loves rummy.
I love Rummy too, but I'm not as good as Mom.
Sounds like it sounds like you guys just need to get better. I mean, that's what I'm not going to blame your parents here. You guys need to
I'm
get
so
better.
upset. I actually think I want the mini host back on now.
That's fine. Cassie. Oh no, she's not coming. Not coming. All right, listen. Let hyper competitiveness aside. Listen, I'll tell you a funny story that'll make you appreciate things a little bit better. So my wife and I, we've been together for 20 years. We love each other to death. She blessed me with 2 beautiful daughters. There's nothing bad I could say about this woman. But when we play Mario Kart, all bets are off. And I usually smoke her pretty bad. Like it's bad. The amount of smoking that happens when her and I play. So last time we were playing together, and then after that we were gonna go watch a movie, Netflix and chill, if you will. And no, it didn't happen. It didn't happen because I smoked her so bad that the door got slammed, like shut. She was like, no, it's not happening. I'm like, listen, you can't be mad. And you know what the funny thing was, at one point during the race, I stopped to like take a drink out of my big water bottle, and I was joysticking with one hand. and I still won the race, and she was really,
Yeah, I would be mad too. I
Yeah,
get
I would
it.
have been like, sorry, bud.
Yeah.
You could have let me win. You could have let me finish first, but you didn't.
listen. It's win or lose in my house. There is no second place. You just win or
No, man.
That's how it is. My dad is he was okay, so my dad was our softball coach our entire life, and he always told us, if you're not first, you're last, Ricky Bobby. And also, there's always winners and there's always losers. Regardless, that's how the game goes. There's always going to be a winner and there's always going to be a loser. And you know what we are not? Losers.
Yeah, but he could have gotten second place to at least get first place later. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Like, you gotta start thinking ahead, man.
But if you don't get all first place finishes in the 4 races, you don't get the stars, and if you don't get the stars, you don't unlock vehicles. There is a method here, ladies. There is a method, okay?
That's
And look,
so funny.
listen, it sounds like your father understands the concept. The concept is that's it. It's to quote you guys, it's predetermined. Winners and losers. That's it. That's
So bad.
it. You gotta love it when it gets spin. I love it.
It's so good.
So talk to me. Let's go back to Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter for a second, because how big would it have been to get a win? I mean, it didn't go your way that night, but you guys got your punches in. You guys put in the work. I will say that. You didn't lose to the point where it was losing to look bad. You guys, I think everyone in that match got over, which is the key to a great match, is everybody getting over. But how big would it have been for momentum for you guys to get a win over the former and the current AEW Women's Champion? That would have been fucking huge.
Yeah, so going into this match, we were on a 3-win streak.
With AEW,
With
apparently. We didn't realize.
We didn't realize until after the match, and I was like, "Oh wait, you're right. We did have 3 wins going into this." I personally feel like that would have been a step in the right direction for the women's tag division. If we had gotten to win, just being a part of it and having a legitimate tag team there on the roster,
That would
to
have
help
been cool.
build that would have been amazing.
But with that being said, I will say this. Never for a second did I think I was
No, I never thought I was ever gonna win that match. I'm gonna say that those 2 women right there, they are and Jamie.
Oh, dude.
Oh my gosh. And Brit, she looks so pretty while she's beating your ass, but she's like beating your ass, and you don't realize it.
Dude.
And she just moves so great. Both of those women. I don't know. It was such an enjoyable match for me.
I had a great time. I will
say
say this. I was extremely blown up. But like, I don't know if the sling blade was caught on camera or like on TV. But when I took that sling blade off Brit, I was like, thank God I don't have to do anything else.
I was gonna say that backbreaker looked pretty. The hater breaker looked pretty damn vicious too.
So I knew it was the last thing that I was taking, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make it look crazy. I'm gonna jump for her, and I want her to kill me because it's the last thing I've taken.
Yeah, she did. She looked like she put you in the coffin. She buried you 6 feet deep, and she did your obituary all in one move. It was.
It didn't feel good. It definitely didn't feel good.
But you know what? That's the incredibleness of you young ladies going in, doing your job, working, understanding, and progressing. And this is one thing that I do enjoy about AEW is the opportunities that are given, the fact that we get to see the next crop of talent coming up, going up against the current stars that AEW represents. But here's one thing that is kind of my beef with AEW, and not to shit all over the brand because I do love the band. I am a fan. I am absolutely a fan of AEW. You can clearly see behind me that I'm a fan.
Yep.
But when it comes to it, I feel like a lot of the titles are not justifiably getting enough time that they should be. I feel like the TBS Women's title is an underrated title. I do feel like the Women's Championship is not getting its fair shake. And if this tag team division for the women does come to fruition and we get these women's tag team titles, all these belts should be represented. I also feel that the men's TBS Championship gets left behind. Right now, I feel like the Trios Championships, the men's tag team championships, and the AEW Heavyweight Championship are getting majority of the camera time. And I feel like if you have that many titles, you've got to find that balance. You really have to find that balance. And I don't think that balance has been found yet. And it's frustrating for me personally. And again, this is my opinion. So all you marks out there that are getting ready to type comments, just pump the brakes for a second. The fact is it's my opinion. It's my show. So I have to state my opinion. But I'm not asking you guys to agree with me. But what are your thoughts on what I just said?
I can address the female side of things.
Mhm.
I will say it is notoriously known in the wrestling industry that throughout any company, females do not get as much time as the men.
Mhm.
We get a fraction of the time. And this is in any company. This is not just AEW.
Mhm.
I do agree that like these titles need to have more time, especially the women's titles. They need to be shown off a little bit more. But I do know, and I know Robin knows, that there are people in the back who are fighting for that time, that are fighting for these women and these men to have good storylines and get the time on TV to show what they can do and to show off the brand and like, hey, you're the face of my company. Let's get you out there. There are people in the back who are fighting for it just alongside the wrestlers that are holding these belts.
I will also say this, and I mean it doesn't really have much because these two women I'm about to say, they're not champions. But with that being said, it's a very big step in the right direction. They had Marina Shafir and Athena just had a 15-minute dark match.
Yep, and it was a banger.
Yeah, right. But like, since when was the last time that you saw any women get 10 minutes on dark, let alone 15?
Mhm. Mhm.
So I believe that like AEW is taking a step in the right direction as far as women goes. I feel like Tony is seeing, especially with the women that he's adding onto the roster, like Soraya, Ruby Soho, Tony Storm. Like these women are women that come.
They won't let
Yes,
Tony Khan or the world tell them that they will not be seen. They say you will give me my time because I am a superstar and I can do
and I
exactly what
deserve
these
my
men
time.
here
And
that you
Athena,
give these time to. I deserve that same amount of time because I can do the same exact thing. You just need to give me the opportunity.
and I believe that those women. Let me add Athena in as well as on that. But
Yes.
those women are like I said earlier, they're shaping our the locker room. They're shaping the way that
The
everybody
women's
there,
division.
the way, especially at AEW, they're shaping the women's division and how everybody moves and works. Everybody is stepping their game up. Everybody is seeing that there's actual competition. Whether we want to look at this as a tag team or as a tag sport or a partner sport or just by ourselves, it is as much a team sport as it is singly. We are competing against each other. As much as we are sharing the same ring and sharing the same lifestyle and sharing the same locker room, we are competing against each other.
Yes,
And
to
I
answer your question.
but yes, but like I said, I feel like everybody there has just been really like trying really hard to step up their game. And I feel like Tony has seen it and Tony has been giving the women more than what we have. Granted, I won't say that it's what we want, but I will say it's better than
It's
what
a
we
step
have.
in the right
And
direction.
it's great.
And you know, AEW is a very young company still in comparison to its competition. That's the right word. It's competition. It's still a very young company. They're still going through their growing pains and learning their lessons on like what is and is not like wanted in wrestling, if that makes sense.
Hell, so is WWE.
I mean,
If we're being quite honest.
yes,
Yeah.
them too. But it's a learning experience, and I think all across the board, regardless of company that it is, I feel like it's an issue that I feel like there are people backstage because I've seen it myself. I've been a part of conversations that include this. So I know that there's people who want to take a step in the right direction and that want to give these people that work so hard and are the face of their company, regardless of gender, um, give them the time that they deserve.
Absolutely. You're 100% right. And from where we were, 15 years ago to where we are in the last 7 years has been a huge leap forward, a huge step. Quality is nearly balancing out, but I think we still need to massage it a little bit more to get it exactly where it needs to be to kind of shift the juxtaposition, if you will. But you're right. It's definitely a huge leaps of bounds from where we were before. I think we can all agree on that. But I still think the fair shake needs to be given. I just wish that everyone, and this is one thing that I've preached a lot, is the Impact Knockouts division has always been at the forefront. They have always been changing games. They have always been main eventing, giving times. Mickey James, Jordan Grace, Friday the 13th, Hard to Kill, enough said. It was a 26-minute match, bell to bell, not including intros and outros. So we're talking 26 minutes of in-ring action. Those two ladies tore the house down, and Impact has always done that. The Knockouts division, as far as I could say, in terms of women in wrestling, have always been at the forefront in changing the game and making women be able to get that time.
Oh yeah. This past weekend we were actually at the Impact show watching, and I will say it was very refreshing to sit and watch like women tag teams who are established tag teams work. And how many matches, women's tag matches, did we see this past weekend?
I would
Between
say
take-ins and
I would say maybe two
two
or
or
three.
three.
Yeah, two or three.
So like,
At least
and that's a lot.
I was gonna say I know there was at least one on actually I would say maybe three or four because there was a three-way a three-way tag on the pay-per-view. I don't know if that was pre-show or if it was on the pay-per-view. I can't remember. But then we had the tag match with Taya Valkyrie and her part sorry, Rosemary. And then the next day we had at least one more. I'm not sure if we had a second one, but I remember that there was at least one more.
Yeah, there was a couple which to me, I would have to completely agree with you. I noticed at the Impact show that it was pretty down the line. Like they gave a lot of women an opportunity to come out and show what they could do. A lot of women were used. And I will say Impact was the closest to almost 50-50 that I've seen out of any company.
Don't you just feel like Impact Knockouts Tag Team Champions, the Renegade Twins, has just such a fucking killer ring to
I
it?
do.
Right, but I will say Killer Dolls, like I love them. So, one day I look forward to wrestling them, but right now, I'm cool with them having the belts. Maybe one day.
They're keeping them warm for you. They're keeping them warm.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Taking care of my baby.
Exactly. So one thing I do have to give a shout out to is I got to give a shout out to the Renegade mom, your mom. She's an absolute sweetheart. She has retweeted, shared everything that the mini host does. And you know what? Proud dad moment for me. Like when the mini host can get over with the family members of the guests that have given us a time on the show. It's humbling and it's honoring. And listen, I talk shit at the beginning of the episode, but I know she's a star. I know she's the reason people come back, and that's okay. We have great conversations that are in depth, but she gives you that moment where you don't have to worry about the seriousness of your answers or what is he going to ask next. And you guys know me. You know me pretty well that I'm never going to put anyone in an uncomfortable place to say something that would in any way, shape, or form. But your mom is phenomenal. She's been a big supporter of our brand and what we're doing, and especially the mini host. So I know she's going to definitely be watching this one because she always watches when you guys are on. So to Mama Renegade, thank you so much. We appreciate you. We do.
Yes. Shout out to Mama Renegade.
She said she will always be the biggest cheerleader in the room.
She's the best. She's always the loudest cheerleader in the room. If she's not the biggest one, she is the loudest.
Hey, but that's who you want, right? You want somebody like I always tell my daughter, and oh boy, here we go. Yeah, serious dad moment. But I always tell her, I'm like, no matter what through life, I'm not always going to be there. There's going to be challenges. There's going to be obstacles. You're going to have to grow, make mistakes and bumps on the road. It's not about the bumps or anything like that. But just know that no matter what, whether it's 5 feet, 10 feet, 20 feet, 1,000 feet, 600 miles between us, I will always be there. And that's it. I will always be there. And like my favorite book from when I was a kid, Robert Munch, I'll love you forever. I'll love you forever. I'll love you for always. As long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. And that's my baby. That's my girl. That's my homie. She's my best friend. And it's on she is. She's the coolest person I know. But fuck, does she give me all kinds of attitude. And now that she's 13, oh shit.
Woo. I was gonna say she doesn't even realize it, but she's very lucky and very fortunate. We didn't realize how lucky we were to have our parents be so supportive and basically our best friends. Like we talk about it all the time. We're like, who are our friends? Us, parents, and our mom and dad and our boyfriends. That's about all we got. And then of course we have like some of our wrestling friends, but like we don't live together. Like we don't live in the same states. Everybody's everywhere. So it's like, who are the people I can hang out with all the time? I spend all day long with my mom. All day long. That's all we do. We do. But one day she will realize that she's very fortunate and very lucky to have a dad like you, because not many people do. And Robin and I didn't realize that that's not a very common thing either.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I look at parenting and life and the challenges that parents nowadays have to face, as well as kids nowadays have to face. It ain't easy. It's like this information superhighway that you just never get off of. And sometimes the disconnect, it's hard to have those moments where you could sit down and play Uno or play Monopoly and rightfully have your father win. These are moments that you'll cherish.
Rob's like, I'm hanging up.
He's like, I'm gonna push it. I have to push Robin's buttons. I do. All right, you know what, ladies? I want to play a game with you, and we played this last time, but the last time it was very weird because that twin telepathy thing happened, and you guys were like clicking on all cylinders. So this time we're gonna be a little different. This time we're gonna be a little different. I'm gonna throw out word. We're gonna play word association. So I'm gonna throw out something like fruit and see what pops into your heads first, or ice cream flavor and see what pops in your head first. I want to see if we can get twin telepathy. On the same gears that we were before. Okay, so really
I
simple.
feel like we're gonna have to try to force this, and it might go wrong.
But just
remember, our best twin telepathy happens. You heard it happen when she was like, "All right, let's start." We were like, "Yes, ma'am."
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I heard it happen there, and also like even the first time, I go back and watch the first interview sometimes, and it's like, and now introducing the Renegade twins, and it's like, hey, and you both said at the same time, and it's like, wow, twin telepathy was all over the first episode. So let's see if we can keep it going. Okay.
All right.
Here we go. Ready? Very simple. First thing, potato chip flavor.
Barbecue.
And we already got it. We already got it off. All right. All right. I'm trying to think. Okay. Chick-fil-A or McDonald's?
Chick-fil-A.
I figured that. I love Chick-fil-A too. There's only a few here in Canada, but damn, they're good. They are so good. They are fantastic.
Yeah, they're great.
Okay, let's see. You like pasta? Okay, spaghetti and meatballs, fettuccine Alfredo.
Alfredo.
Okay, there we go. See, I switched up a little bit.
Similar,
I gave you an option, but so far we're 3 for 3. Okay, now let's go with this because this is really hard. Ice cream flavor.
Hold on, go for it. I want to hear it. Okay, so there's 2 that could be in her brain right now.
Okay.
3 that could be in her brain right now, and I don't know which one it is, but I'm gonna go.
Do you have options for your ice cream flavors?
All right, I will give you options for but see, that's the problem. Ice cream, there's so many flavors. There really is a lot of flavors.
See, that's another thing. I kind of want to just go and see if we say the same one.
We're not
I'm
going.
gonna throw out 2 of my favorite flavors. I'm gonna throw out 2 of
And I
my
feel
favorite
like-
flavors. You let me know, okay? These are my 2 favorite flavors: cookie dough or peanut butter chocolate chip.
Neither one of those were in my at all.
But if you had to choose,
but if I had
to, or peanut butter and chocolate chip, cookie dough,
it's
right?
cookie dough.
Yeah,
if I had to pick one out of that, it's cookie dough. I'm not a big fan of peanut butter. I like it, but it's not my go-to.
So I like a Rocky Road ice cream where like you have like the little peanut butter like cups in it and all the
Moose
different
tracks.
moose tracks. There you go, moose tracks. I like moose tracks, but like I also feel like that's mainly like vanilla with a little what?
We're ruining his game.
Yeah, sorry.
You're explaining as we're going. All right, final one. This is a big one. This is huge, actually, and this one's not going to be a wrestler that pops. It's not going to be one that pops here. I'm going to give you an option for this one because these are 2 of my all-time favorites. Okay, they're legends in the game. Roddy Piper, or the Ultimate Warrior.
Piper.
I was gonna say I'm gonna go with Piper.
That was such a hard question.
I'm glad that you did because as you can clearly see, I have my Michelangelo Roddy Piper up there.
We actually got to meet his daughter recently, Teal.
And I'm trying to get her on the show. She
is so amazing. She's an Amazon woman. She looks just like her dad. She is just so strong. Like I looked at her and I was like, dang, I want to look like you when I get older. Grow up.
Favorite Roddy Piper quote of all time? You think you know the questions, or think you have all the answers? Then I change the questions. Go. Yeah. Best Roddy Piper quote of all time. All right, ladies, I think we're good. I mean, the game got a little kerfuffled. We went into explanations, but that's what I love about you guys. It's always fun. Ladies, I've asked before, but please, if you could do me this one favor before we say our goodbyes, you look at the camera, give me that Renegade twin fire, and let them know that you just had a killer time with Straight Talk Wrestling and that they should subscribe to YouTube because we're awesome.
Hey, guys. We've had an amazing time here on Straight Talk Wrestling.
And you should totally go like, follow, subscribe, and definitely retweet and share this episode.
Yes. Also, follow the mini host.
Follow the mini host.
If you don't follow the mini host, I'm going to kick your ass.
We're going to have a big issue.
Wow. Listen, I'm gonna unfollow her and then refollow her again just to make sure that I don't get in trouble.
As you should.
So impressive, my God. No, you guys are awesome. I can't wait to see what 2023 holds for you. And just know that you guys always have a place here on the Straight Talk family. You are members of the Straight Talk family. And if you ever do come over to learn some Canadian strong style, we have some couches for you over here. And I know Mrs. Host would love to cook some fettuccine Alfredo for you. And then you can go hang out with the mini host and whatever.
Whatever.
And then we'll play Monopoly and I'll be the banker.
Yeah, no, we're not playing with anybody who claims they need to be the banker.
I don't need to be the banker.
Who says,
I'll let you be the banker, and I'll let you be the banker, and I'll still win.
All right, that works.
All right, fine.
That's easy because we'll still kick your ass. That works.
Perfect.
Let's go.
When I get off this interview, I'm going to give your dad a call. I'm going to find out all the tricks to make sure I got. All right, ladies. You know what? If you want to, please shout out your socials. Let everyone know where they can keep up with the journey that is the Renegades, both your separate ones and your joint one.
Alrighty, so we're gonna give you guys our joint ones.
Okay.
On our joint one, you can find both of our personal. We tag each other on there. Our joint on Instagram is renegade.twins.
And then our Twitter is renegade_twins. Again, you can find us both on there. Just go ahead and look us up.
All right, that's perfect. You guys are fantastic. I enjoy every conversation we have. Let's not make it a year before you come back, please. Any chance?
Yeah, of course.
And of course, I know that it's because you missed the mini host, and that's fine. I still think you guys are great, and I'm a huge fan of your dad.
Oh, thank you. We'll make sure that he knows that by the end of the night.
Absolutely. Please, when you hang up with me, go back downstairs and say, Dad, the host is a huge fan of you. And he'll be like, of course. Why wouldn't
Of course
he?
he is. Duh.
It's predetermined that he's a fan.
It's predetermined.
It's predetermined. Ladies, as always, it's been a pleasure. I enjoy all of our conversations. And guys, all links to my socials are below. Peace, love, and wrestling. I'll see you next time. Peace.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to tune in next week for another great episode on all available podcast platforms and hosted on Podbean. Also, check us out on YouTube at Straight Talk Wrestling, on Instagram at Straight Talk Wrestling, on Facebook at Straight Talk Wrestling, and on Twitter at _Straight Talk. And if you feel the need to buy some sweet merch, check us out on ProWrestlingTees.com.
Leaving the scene with no trace, not in my league. You out of place. I'm not at the top, I'm outer space. Can't eat with us, we're out of place. I'm doing fine, I'm feeling great. You're not my fan, you can't relate. Straight talk going state to state.